So, what's the most you'd ever pay for an airplane? $1 million? Maybe 10 million? Well, what if I told you the US Air Force paid over $2 billion for a single plane? Today, we're going to dig in and uncover the real price of the legendary B-2 Spirit stealth bomber. All right, let's just start with the number that makes your jaw hit the floor. $2.13 billion. And no, that's not for the whole fleet. According to the U.S. Government Accountability Office, that was the average cost to get just one B-2 bomber. I mean, just to let that sink in, that's for a single plane. You could buy a whole bunch of commercial airliners for that kind of money. It's a number that almost doesn't seem real. So the big question we have to answer is, how on earth did it get that expensive?
To really get our heads around that price tag, we have to jump back in time a bit. We've got to unravel a story that's all about Cold War ambitions, some absolutely revolutionary technology, and, well, some truly mind-boggling math.
Okay, so the first thing you have to know is that the $2 billion figure, as shocking as it is, isn't really the whole story. See, with these massive defense projects, whenever you ask, how much did it cost, the answer is almost always, well, it's complicated. It really all depends on what you decide to include in the bill. Basically, there are three different ways to look at the B-2's price tag. You can think of it like buying a car, right? You've got the flyaway cost, which is kind of like the basic sticker price. Then there's the total acquisition cost. That's the all-in price with all the extras. And finally, you have the total program cost, which is the big picture. Everything from the first sketch on a napkin to the final rollout. You know, the whole shebang. Let's start with the simplest number, the flyaway cost. This is literally just what it costs to build one plane. The metal, the engines, the basic systems. Back in 1997, that was $737 million. Now, don't get me wrong, that is still an incredible amount of money. We're talking about $1.45 billion in today's dollars. But it's nowhere near that $2 billion we started with.
And that's because the cost to actually build the plane is just the tip of the iceberg. The real cost, the huge, kind of hidden part of that price tag, comes from something that happened years before a single piece of metal was even cut: research and development.
And this, right here, is where we get to the real aha moment. See, the B-2's crazy price tag isn't really a story about wasteful spending. At its heart, it's actually a story about a simple but absolutely colossal math problem. You see, when the B-2 was first dreamed up back in the 80s, the Cold War was going strong. The Air Force didn't just want one or two of these things, they were planning to build a massive fleet of 132 of these incredible flying wings. The goal was to penetrate Soviet air defenses. The entire program, all the research, all the tooling, was based on that big number. But then, history threw a massive curveball. The Berlin Wall fell. The Soviet Union dissolved. And all of a sudden, in this new world, the need for a fleet of 132 super expensive stealth bombers just kind of vanished. And so, Congress took out the red pen and just slashed the order. I mean, drastically. In the end, the total number of B-2s that would ever be built wasn't 132, it was just 21. And here's where the math problem comes in. That entire $44.75 billion program cost, all that groundbreaking R&D for this brand new tech, it was supposed to be spread out across 132 airplanes. Instead, all of that cost got crammed onto just 21. So each individual plane had to absorb this gigantic share of the fixed costs, and that's what sent the final price for each one into the stratosphere. But hey, the sticker price is just where the spending starts. Like with any super complex machine, the real cost comes from keeping it running. And believe me, the cost of keeping the B-2 in the air is almost as staggering as the price to buy it in the first place.
Just look at this comparison. Coming in at roughly $150,000 per hour of flight, the B-2 costs about double what the legendary B-52 does, and way more than twice the B-1 Lancer. It is in a completely different league. So, what on earth makes it so expensive to fly? Well, the short answer is stealth. That iconic shape and that special radar-absorbent skin are incredibly delicate. Get this, for every 1 hour a B-2 is in the air, it needs over 100 hours of maintenance on the ground. Each plane has to have its own special climate-controlled hangar just to protect its sensitive coatings. And the entire fleet has to be based at one single, specialized facility in Missouri. All of that just adds up, big time.
So you look at the eye-watering cost of the B-2, and it makes you wonder, what lessons did the Air Force learn for its next stealth bomber, the brand new B-21 Raider?
Well, the difference is pretty dramatic. The new B-21 Raider is projected to cost around $700 million per plane. Now, that's still a huge number, of course, but it's roughly 1/3 of what its older brother cost.
And this table right here really shows us why. Just look at that line for fleet size. Instead of only 19 active planes, the Air Force plans to buy at least 100 B-21s. And that one factor, just planning to build a lot more of them, is the biggest reason for that massive price drop.
And that really is the main lesson from this whole story. It's just simple economics of scale. By committing to a much larger production run from day one, the huge upfront R&D costs for the B-21 can be spread much more thinly across the entire fleet.
But don't go thinking the B-2 is headed for the museum just yet. Even with its age and its high cost, its capabilities are so unique that the Air Force is planning to keep it flying until at least 2032, where it'll serve right alongside its new, younger sibling.
And all of this leaves us with the ultimate question, doesn't it? The B-2 was, and it still is, a technological marvel. It can strike any target on Earth without being seen, a capability no other plane can really match, and it forces us to ask a really tough question. For that kind of unparalleled power, what is the right price to pay?